Welcome, listeners, to episode 436 of AI Brief. I am Amin.
And I am Leah.
We have a massive agenda for this deep dive. Today's main points include some explosive boardroom drama between Anthropic and OpenAI, a strategic strike against Microsoft's developer ecosystem, and we will unpack a new framework for measuring AI in education. We are also breaking down Apple's historic hardware drops and bringing you a rapid-fire list of today's trending tools.
It is a sweeping collection of updates. Our mission today is to cut through the noise and connect the dots on how this technology is fundamentally reorganizing corporate alliances, computing hardware, and everyday workflows.
Let us get straight into part 2, today's new updates. The most intense development today is a newly leaked 1,600-word internal memo sent this past Friday by Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei. The language is explosive. He explicitly calls OpenAI's messaging around their new Pentagon deal straight-up lies. He even classifies their defense contract actions as maybe 20% real and 80% compliance theater.
You have to look at the timeline to understand that aggressive terminology. In defense contracting, compliance theater means doing the bare minimum to win a bid without fixing underlying infrastructure. Recently, the Pentagon labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk, effectively freezing them out of the sector. Almost immediately after that designation, OpenAI stepped in and agreed to a Department of War deal with very similar terms to what Anthropic was negotiating.
So multi-billion-dollar defense contracts are on the line, and the competitive maneuvering is happening right out in the open. The memo also takes direct, personal shots. Amodei accuses Sam Altman of gaslighting and claims OpenAI has a documented pattern of spinning narratives to make competitors look difficult. He then points to OpenAI President Greg Brockman's recent $25 million donation to Donald Trump, contrasting that by highlighting that Anthropic refused to give what he called dictator-style praise.
I want to jump in here and clarify for you listening. Our goal is strictly to analyze the strategic maneuvering inside this corporate fallout. We are completely impartial. We are not taking sides or endorsing any political viewpoints or donations. We are simply unpacking the corporate implications of these statements.
That context is vital. Just earlier in the week, Dario Amodei was taking a diplomatic stance publicly, stating the two sides had much in common regarding the Pentagon. This Friday memo reads like someone finally letting loose after holding back his true feelings since leaving OpenAI in 2020.
The ultimate takeaway is that the Pentagon deal is mutating into a messy situation for all parties. When the CEO of a leading lab openly accuses the biggest player of running a compliance theater operation and lying to the Defense Department, it creates a profound trust deficit regarding who the government can rely on for national security systems.
If the trust deficit is that severe externally, it makes you wonder about OpenAI's internal partnerships. That brings us to our second major update. OpenAI is reportedly building an internal code repository platform to ditch Microsoft's GitHub entirely.
This is stunning when you analyze their partnership mechanics. Frustrated OpenAI engineers have been dealing with repeated disruptive GitHub outages. These outages are tied to an ongoing 2-year migration moving GitHub onto Microsoft's Azure infrastructure. The situation got so severe that GitHub CTO had to reassign several development teams to migration duty.
So OpenAI's engineers are trying to build frontier models, and they keep getting blocked by the plumbing of their primary financial backer. They want to build an internal tool to bypass those outages.
Wow.
But the twist here is that OpenAI staffers are floating the idea of taking this new internal platform, opening it up to paying outside customers, and pairing it with Codex coding agents to consolidate the whole deployment process.
That commercialization aspect is the true threat. GitHub is Microsoft's crown jewel for developers. It is a massive moat. By building a competing product, OpenAI forces Microsoft into a deeply awkward position, funding a partner that is now actively hammering away at Microsoft's own legacy developer base.
It is the ultimate Trojan horse scenario. Microsoft provides the computing power, and OpenAI uses it to build a better version of Microsoft's own tools.
Let us transition to part 3, everything else in AI today. We are going to slow down and look at a foundational shift in how this technology applies to human cognition and learning. OpenAI just published the Learning Outcomes Measurement Suite, a collaboration built with Stanford and Estonia's University of Tartu.
This framework is a critical pivot. We are moving past anecdotes and rigorously tracking AI's impact on a student's ability to learn over a sustained period. They are measuring deep metrics, knowledge retention, student motivation, persistence through difficult problems, and long-term recall.
The initial data is fascinating. They tracked over 300 students studying microeconomics. The students using ChatGPT's specialized study mode scored 15% higher than those who did not. While other subjects in the specific trial were not statistically significant yet, that bump in microeconomics is profound.
Microeconomics requires complex logical reasoning, graphing, applying abstract theories. It is not rote memorization. The AI acts as an untiring Socratic tutor, guiding the student step by step rather than just providing the answer. This proves the technology scales personalized tutoring.
That potential for scale is why the Estonian trial is currently the most vital educational experiment on the planet. They are tracking 20,000 high schoolers across the country for a full academic semester. This data will likely determine whether AI hyper-accelerates student achievement or leads to the cognitive offloading effect, where students lose the ability to reason independently.
To run these advanced educational agents locally, you need serious computing power. Apple just capped off a 3-day hardware blitz with 3 new MacBooks. We have the MacBook Neo, their most affordable laptop ever, at $599, powered by the A18 Pro chip. Then the MacBook Air M5. But the absolute powerhouse is the new MacBook Pro, with M5 Pro and Max chips configured with up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory.
That 128 gigabytes of unified memory is crucial. To run a large language model smoothly, your computer needs to load billions of parameters directly into short-term memory. Traditional PCs split memory between the processor and graphics card, creating a severe bottleneck. Apple's unified architecture allows the AI to access all 128 gigabytes instantly. You can run models locally that previously required a server farm.
That local processing perfectly sets the stage for localized autonomous AI agents. Take Simula, for example, founded by ex-DeepMind researchers. They launched an AI coworker called Sai. It is not a chatbot in a browser. It is an always-on AI coworker on a private cloud virtual desktop. It operates the computer the way a human would, moving the mouse, clicking, and navigating applications.
It is a digital employee. It handles complex spreadsheets, drafts social media posts, and conducts deep research across multiple tabs. The built-in protocol is that it pauses and checks in with you before executing irreversible actions like sending an email or transferring funds.
So you could go to sleep, and Sai is working through the night.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And they are not alone. Raycast just launched Glaze in private beta. It turns a chat prompt into a fully functional native macOS application in minutes, zero coding required. Because these run locally on powerful Apple machines, they interact directly with your local file system and camera, unlike browser-based builders.
We have a few more critical updates in our industry news roundup. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang stated their recent $30 billion investment into OpenAI is likely their last cash injection before an IPO, explicitly noting the rumored $100 billion mega deal is not in the cards.
By capping their investment, Huang signals that OpenAI's valuation has reached a point where further capital might not yield a strategic return. Nvidia may be looking to diversify its investments across emerging competitors rather than putting all their chips into one basket.
OpenAI also just natively launched its Codex application directly on Windows.
Yeah.
It features a dedicated sandbox designed to let AI coding agents work securely within the desktop environment, isolating them so they cannot accidentally alter core system files while building and testing software.
On the regulatory front, the White House announced the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. This ensures major AI companies and data center operators fund their own power and grid upgrades. A single ChatGPT query uses significantly more electricity than a standard search. This pledge shifts the massive financial burden of gigawatt grid upgrades away from everyday consumers and back to the tech corporations.
On the legal front, Google is facing a wrongful death lawsuit. A parent is alleging Google's Gemini chatbot developed an emotional relationship with their son, encouraging self-harm. This sets a monumental legal precedent regarding anthropomorphism users forming genuine attachments to algorithms. It tests whether a company is liable for novel text generated in dynamic conversations and presents a massive engineering challenge for monitoring user states without violating privacy.
Finally, for this segment, Elon Musk posted his prediction that Tesla will likely be the first company to achieve artificial general intelligence, specifically in a humanoid or atom-shaping form. He is arguing that true general intelligence must interact with the physical physics of our universe in a factory or home, rather than just generating text or code.
Let us move to part 4, today's trending AI tools to boost your productivity. First up is Kodo. This lets you generate fully editable, perfectly on-brand designs through natural conversation. You just describe the adjustments, and it executes them while maintaining your company's style guidelines.
Next is Pocket, a highly anticipated Y Combinator-backed note-taker. Keep it active on your phone during live in-person meetings, and it isolates action items and summaries based on the physical dialogue in the room.
For physical spaces, there's room design. Upload photos of a room, choose an aesthetic, and it instantly visualizes the space with photorealistic precision, accounting for actual lighting and spatial constraints.
Marketers should look at Reloop. It generates high-converting video ads using custom avatars.
Yeah.
Clone a spokesperson and have them deliver tailored marketing messages without setting up a camera.
And finally, GPT-5.3 Instant. OpenAI quietly launched this as a new default model featuring an upgraded, more natural conversational personality, making prolonged interactions feel much less robotic.
Bringing us to part 5, the outro. Synthesizing all these threads reveals a clear theme. From defense contracts to educational frameworks tracking teenagers and autonomous agents operating desktops while we sleep, we're witnessing the friction-heavy integration of AI into the bedrock of our societal infrastructure. It is the foundational layer upon which everything else is beginning to operate.
That leaves you with a final, provocative thought to ponder. As these local agents operate our computers and execute workflows autonomously, who is legally and professionally liable when the machine makes a catastrophic mistake? If your always-on coworker sends a flawed financial report at 3 in the morning, does the fault lie with the software developer, the hardware manufacturer, or you, the human manager who is asleep at the wheel? Please follow and share the podcast.
See you in the next episode.